What's up guys, it's Aiden, and today we're going to go through how Lil Nas X's Industry Baby was made on FL Studio. This beat was produced by Take a Day Trip and Kanye West, and because this is a sponsored video, the FLP will be available for everyone in the description below, as well as Unison's new plugin Drum Monkey, which I am very happy to be promoting again today because I use this plugin in my own beats. For example, the other day I was hit up by Bugs Ronan, who's produced a bunch of Lil Uzi Vert songs, and he was in a studio session with Lil Uzi Vert, and he said send over some Lil Uzi Vert type beats, type samples. I immediately hopped on FL Studio and started making Lil Uzi Vert type beats, using Drum Monkey to make those beats as fast as possible because it automates the drum programming process. So this was one of the beats that I sent to him. And this whole beat, including the sample, took me around 5 minutes to make. For the drums, I added Unison's Drum Monkey and I used my favorite samples preset, which has some of my favorite samples. I went into each sample individually in the edit section and leveled them. Then I hit generate a couple times until I found a pattern that suited the sample, and we ended up with this one. Big thanks to Unison for sponsoring this video. I love to promote plugins that I use in my own beats. So, Industry Baby. We start off with this brass that plays in the intro. In the original song, they were using live brass instruments, but not everyone has access to that. So I opened up Kontakt and we're using Session Horns Pro, and I've added a bass trombone, a tenor trombone, and 2 trumpets. And there are 2 different ways that the brass plays in the intro. So the first way is vibrato. Second way is faux picre. Sorry for mispronouncing that, I'm not a brass player. And you can switch between the two by using key switches. So you can see C1 is activating vibrato. So when I press C1 on the piano, it activates vibrato. Then C#1 is activating faux picre. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. So that's how you can change between the two. So then go to your piano roll, and we're adding in C1 for these first chords, and then C#1, which is going to activate the second articulation for this final chord. So if we didn't have this key switch, the last chord would sound like this. Then when you add it in, so all together. Then we're moving into the chorus. First off, we have these big brass chords. We're using the same preset as last time, except now we've added in a baritone saxophone. I'll add them all in individually so you can hear how they play together. Then we're also adding in a tuba. Then for effects, we're adding Fruity Compressor for some compression, RC20 Retrocolor for some wobble, air distortion, space reverb, and bringing up the tone. Then a little bit of Fruity Chorus and Fruity Flanges, then Parametric EQ2, and this is before and after. Then we have OTT, which is a free multi-band compressor plugin. And you can see we've brought the depth down to 11%. Then finally, with these 2 effects, we have automated them so they come in during Jack Harlow's verse. Next up, we have the 808, which is a modified version of the overused 808. For effects, we're adding Parametric EQ2, Decapitator for some distortion, DS10 Drum Shaper to increase the sustain, the presence, and turn on soft clipping, then finally Fruity Limiter for sidechaining the 808 to the kick. So when the 808 and the kick play together, you can see this purple area is where the kick is playing and the 808 is reducing in volume. That way they're not competing for space in the mix. So if I turn this effect off, it's going to sound more distorted, like they're all fighting for space in the mix. Then once you turn it on, everything fits together a bit more nicely. Speaking of things, next up we have the kick, which is the rack kick, and we're playing this pattern. Next up we have some identical percussion samples like this closed hat, this open hat, which is a Kanye West hat, as well as this rim shot. So they all play together like this. But this loop does change slightly. So after the first 8 bars, you can see the hi-hat is now playing a 2-step pattern, which is a very minor change, but it's adding good variation in the arrangement. Then we have the identical clap sample, which plays on the 3 and 7. And that also changes very slightly, becoming a little bit more complicated. Next up, we have the second half of the chorus. Here we're adding in a sub. I made this preset on Repro 1 using a saw wavetable and brought the filter cutoff down to 31.5. And you can see they used a saw sub in the original song by looking at it through an EQ versus the remake. It looks the same and it sounds the same, which is obviously the most important part. Next up, we have this riser effect, which you can see sometimes the whole thing plays and then sometimes just the second half of it plays. Then we have the Da Bomb sample, which I also used in my remake of Playboi Carti's Magnolia. I'll leave a link to it up there if you want to check it out. Then I made this clap loop. We have a couple of snares, this reverse snare, and this perk. So everything all together. Then coming into Jack Harlow's verse, we have some new brass. The way I did this is first automate these 2 effects. So we now have this EQ coming in and RC20 retro color again for some added space reverb and bring up the tone a little bit more. So it's going to sound like this. Then we're also adding in this preset from Purity called Steel Drums. Go to edit, bring up the filter sustain and the amp envelope sustain as well. So now these notes play forever. And we're playing some similar chords to the brass. So everything all together. That's it for the remake. Thank you very much for watching, and thanks to Unison for sponsoring this video. Go check out their Drum Monkey plugin in the description below, as well as the free FLP. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.